My sister-in-law wants me to hand over my baby because she can't have children. Now she's saying I stole her child. I, 36F, have been married to my husband for over 10 years and he has a sister, 40F. There has always been some jealousy and resentment from her. She's always felt like I had the life she wanted, not necessarily with her brother, but in terms of marriage, family, job stability, etc. I have 3 kids, 10F, 8M and 3 months F. She got married last year and they decided to start trying for a baby. Unfortunately, she was told that she can't have children naturally. Understandably, she was devastated and the family comforted her as best as we could. During a recent family dinner, in the middle of it, she said my name. I think it's really unfair that you got to have 3 kids, and I can't have any. Your baby is my last chance to raise a child, so I think you should give her to me during the week so I can create a motherly bond with her, and you can have her on weekends. It's not verbatim, there were pauses in between responses. So, after she said the first sentence, I looked at her like WTF did you just say? Then, I looked at my husband, and he asked her what she's talking about. She ignored him and continued speaking directly to me. Before I could respond, the entire table erupted with everyone talking at once, so I took my older kids upstairs. When I got back to the dining room, her husband was asking what the hell was wrong with her, and why would she even think to ask that? She was trying to justify herself when I asked them to leave. I also said that she's no longer welcomed at my house or around my children until she gets help. She started screaming that I don't deserve my life or my children and that I stole her baby from her. Her husband and mother-in-law kept apologizing and dragged her out of the house, still crying and screaming. Now my kids want to know why their aunt wants to take the baby. Update 1. So, my sister-in-law has been admitted to a psychiatric facility. In the comments of my previous post, I mentioned that her husband was seeking out counseling for them to deal with infertility prior to this incident. After the incident, he sought out a psychiatrist rather than a counselor, and they had their first session last week. I didn't get the specifics of what happened, but basically, she made some statements that the psychiatrist felt indicated she was a danger to others, specifically my baby and me, and she was placed under an involuntary hold. My brother-in-law has been nothing but apologetic through this entire ordeal, and he kept her away from us since the incident. My mother-in-law was staying with them to keep an eye on sister-in-law, and a couple things happened. First, she tried to leave the house in the middle of the night, and when questioned why, she replied to see her baby. Also, my brother-in-law found her researching how to induce lactation, and she said it was to make sure she can feed the baby properly when I come to my senses and give her up. From what brother-in-law has said, seeing me breastfeed is apparently what triggered the entire episode. It was the first time sister-in-law was around the baby for any length of time, and she was holding her when she got fussy because she was hungry. Naturally, I took her to feed her, and this made sister-in-law feel inadequate because it triggered the thought that she would never be able to do that, which led to the events of the last post. I'm grateful for all the advice that was offered on my last post, as some of it was really helpful. We won't be moving as it's not feasible for us at the moment, but we have taken extra steps with security both at home and at the kids' school/daycare. We already have a system and cameras because there's been a trend of house break-ins in my area recently. No one has the code and keys to our house, not even the in-laws, so we're safe on that front. Unfortunately, a restraining order wouldn't be possible because it will take a lot more than this to justify requesting one. We've never relied on her for childcare or pickups, so she's essentially a stranger to the daycare and school. This whole thing is taking a toll on the family, but my mother-in-law, Phil, and brother-in-law are taking care of sister-in-law. My husband and I are focused on ensuring the safety of our immediate family and minimizing the effect on the kids as much as we can. Update 2. I've had a few messages asking how things are going, so I decided to update. I have not seen sister-in-law since the incident happened, and I also blocked her on my socials. My in-laws have been amazing through this entire situation and are not sharing any information about our family with her. Unfortunately, she still remains fixated on my baby. She tried to find out where the daycare is and even threatened to hurt herself if my in-laws didn't tell her. This led to another stint in the psych ward. She wrote me a letter begging me to be fair and let her see her baby. I didn't actually receive the letter though. My mother-in-law read it and just gave us the gist of its contents. Sister-in-law's husband is working with her psychiatrist to see how best she can be helped, but he has said he doesn't know how long he can deal with this, but he's giving it 6 months to see if she improves. If she doesn't, then he may consider other options. Understandably, not everyone is equipped to deal with a mental health crisis. I suggested a therapist to him because he's been very focused on her mental health, disregarding his own. I don't think he's hard and fast on that timeline because he probably said it at a point of frustration. They've only been married for a year. It's a very sad situation for her, and I had hoped she would be able to deal with whatever is happening. At this point, we're completely no contact with her. We explained to our older kids that their aunt isn't well, so she won't be around anymore. We still see mother-in-law and father-in-law regularly, so I'm grateful we didn't have to cut them off. We spent the holidays with my family, and it was all very nice and uneventful. We're still on alert in case she escalates, but the hospital where she's warded isn't near us, and they don't live near us either. So, we've accepted this as our new reality and we're operating accordingly.